Hello everyone, so in this video we're going to shorten the hose on a hydraulic brake. In this instance we're using Uberbike Component hoses and Shimano levers. This does vary slightly depending on the type of brake setup you've got. I always do it from the lever end. That's largely because it's easier and there's usually less to buy when you do it from the lever end. When I say to buy, generally you are replacing the olives and the barbs on the hoses when you cut them. They're generally not reusable. Shimano ones definitely aren't, Clark's ones definitely aren't, SRAM ones and Uberbike ones you possibly could, it's just not really advised. And the SRAM ones is only if you've got the screw-in barbs and not the older pushing ones. In terms of tools, spanner, in this instance because it's an Uberbike Components one, we use a torque screwdriver T10, a flat screwdriver to try and harvest the old olive because I'm going to use the olive on this one, a set of cutters and a set of pliers. After you do the whole idea of doing it this way, which is the bike's tilted towards the lever, is to try and lose as little fluid as possible to minimise or eliminate the need for bleeding. So we will do a quick bleed on this afterwards, but that'll be a different video. That'll be one of the next videos. If you are looking to do this on Shimano hoses, you will need a few extra tools. So you'll need basically like little yellow blocks which hold the hose when you hammer the barb in, and a hammer. Yeah, you actually hammer the barb in on Clark's and Shimano brakes, but obviously then you don't need the T10 screwdriver. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the hose off. We've got the cloth in place to catch any undo this nut. So we'll take the hose off. We'll size the hose, we'll make the cut. We're going to reuse the olive on this, so we'll separate the olive off, but I won't show that. We're going to put the olive on the new shorten bit of hose. We'll pop the barb in, we'll crimp the olive, and it's just you know, sort of press on it a bit, bolt it back in, and hopefully, if I don't lose any fluid, we won't need to re-bleed this. But as I say, we'll do a quick bleed video afterwards for those that do need to bleed their brakes after doing this. Here we go. So on these, it's an 8mm. So I'm just going to, so I don't want to damage anything, but you know, gently take that off, like so. Best thing to do is let whatever the cover is on yours, the nut, the thing that does it up, just let that slide down so you don't forget to put it back on after. Yeah, that can happen. Size, now when you size you want to make sure that you can actually steer as well. I've got a camera in the way, but we'll just size that accordingly without losing any fluid. Right, so we're about there. I'm going to cut, but yeah, we're going to cut. Pair of cutters, make sure they're sharp, just a very quick, decisive cut, like so. The fluid then you probably saw come out is actually out of the hose part that we've cut off, rather than the one that we've actually got. That we want to obviously use. So I'm just going to let that drip down. My brake disc was maybe slightly in the way. We'll just make sure afterwards we didn't get any on there. All right, we're got the barb I want to take off, but we've got the olive I want to take off, but we're going to take the barb off first. Now these are Uberbike ones, so you normally unscrew them, but because this one's broken it's just going to come off. Discard that. I'm just going to take the olive off, like so. I'm just going to round this, get the pliers. Like with most cuts, it's not completely round afterwards, and that's going to make it difficult to get the barb on. So we're just going to fluff out the end of the hose to make it round, make it a bit easier to get the olive on. Right, so olives on. So we've got some new. Now the washer has stayed in, so I won't need a new washer. Just put them there. Just sort of measure it, make sure the barb's going to be low enough. Just maybe lower the barb a bit more. Kind of shunt it back up a bit afterwards. So I'm just going to bolt this in. As I say, these are screw thread, but if you screw them too much, they will split from the body. So just be careful you don't over tighten. Yeah, once you're in, you're in. Okay. Just going to pull that up, as in the pull that all over, which is being a pain. Not normally this painful. So I'm just going to insert a flat screwdriver just to make it a bit easier. There we go. Down a bit, just so it's not pressing up against it like that. I'm just going to use the flat bit of some pliers. So this bit, just to gently squeeze the olive, like so. Let's just get the bloody bolt over it, which I'm just going to test now. So come on, get the bolt over it. Yep, easy. Just going to pop it back in. As I say, the washer's already there in the. Actually, you know what? Just for safety's sake, and for the purposes of demonstration, let's take the washer out. What I don't want to do is obviously podge fluid out if doing that. So that's the washer. Just going to place it over the top. Pop it into the lever, tighten the nut by hand, and then with my trusty spanner, tighten that up, test, that was my pliers, test the lever afterwards. I'm just going to do that now. What you don't want to do is incline this to the point whereby the cable starts stressing. So if you go too tight, the cable starts trying to move like that. But obviously you want it tight enough. So sometimes if you can go back a bit, hold on to the cable whilst doing this, might help. Yeah, I mean, good old braided cables there. Right, that should be enough. Quick test the brake. Seems fine. Make sure that I can actually still steer. No, that's brilliant. That's perfect. And obviously now it's far more. But yeah, job's good and that's done.